to say, we're going to be talking about 7 signs about people getting into this business, but we're finding out some really tough things what doctors are going through here as well.
Yeah, and even though this, it sounds negative to say that there's a lot of burnout in the physician world right now, that's actually good news for the people who are thinking about getting into our business, isn't it?
Exactly. This next portion of it that I'm going to show you, these are some of the causes of why doctors are getting burned out. And I've kind of highlighted these first, I think, 6 of these right here, as you can see. Patrick, you might want to take these right off the top here.
Yeah, that first one, of course, the biggest reason that doctors are burned out is exactly what we tell people, that there are too many bureaucratic tasks involved in dealing with it. In other words, it's the two business thing that you brought up a few webinars back, Eric, that they're running 2 businesses. One is to help patients get well, and the other is to run it as a business. Their practice is a business, and it has to show a profit or they go out of business. So there's one of the things they have to deal with is all the paperwork. That's talking about the paperwork that our licensees can take away from the doctor to free them up from that.
Yeah, exactly. And as you kind of walk this thing down here, as you can see here, the next one's there, spending too many hours at work, income not high enough. Now those two actually kind of go together, because you think about it, the longer that the doctor stays at the office, his whole income goes down if you think of it per hour. And that's what these doctors are talking about here.
Well, and a lot of doctors actually are involved in the billing side of their practice because maybe their wives, or if the wife is the doctor, the husbands, sometimes are actually running that side of the practice. And so they have to spend hours and hours after hours on the weekends trying to deal with all that, because if you don't get paid.
Exactly. And then you can see the rest of them there. I mean, the increase of computerization of the practice, the impact of the Affordable Care Act, and feeling just like a cog in the wheel. These doctors are under so much pressure.
Hey, you skipped number 3 there. Income not high enough. That's a reason to get burned out on any job, right? Everybody can identify with that. And the reason doctors' income is not high enough is simply because over the years that has dropped. Medicare has started paying less to the doctors for their claims, and then even the insurance companies are cutting corners all kinds of ways, and they don't get paid what they used to. So a doctor who in general practice used to make $300,000 a year now makes half that. That sounds like a lot of money to some people, believe me, for what a doctor has gone through to get to where they're at and all the hours they put in and their knowledge. That's not a lot of money.
And so, folks, not only you might find yourself burned out maybe with your job, because that's some of the things that we're going to be talking about today. We find doctors that are burnt out, and they're burnt out because of the administrative burdens that they're going through. And so Patrick and I today are going to talk a little bit about each one of these situations that you may be facing, which may be the same things that the doctors are facing. But Patrick, we know that the doctors don't want to necessarily get out of medicine. They just want to get out of these things that we're talking about here, right here out of this survey here.
Yeah, all the burdens of bureaucratic tasks.
Yep. So you can see up here, we've kind of highlighted right in here where I'm kind of circling with my mouse. This is where we find this. This is medscape.com. It's under lifestyles 2015. This is public. It's an overview, so you can go out there and go see that. If you can't catch that right now, you can certainly catch that on the recording side of it, and certainly go out there and look at some of the other issues. But however, you really didn't come today to talk about the burnout for doctors. We're talking about the 7 signs it's time for you to start your own business. Patrick, you take it from here, and then we're going to start going down one by one on these, but just give a general overview about why, in general, what it might be a reason for people get ready to start their own business.
Well, even though we're going to get real specific here on these 7 signs, in general, folks, those of you who are on the webinar today or watching the recording of this, you know that you're here because something's wrong in your life, in your employment maybe, that you want to look for a change and start your own business. If you've never owned your own business, you're in the exact right place, because we take people by the hand from scratch that have no business experience and certainly no medical background or training, and lead them to success in their own business. And the great thing is that you can work this business from your home, and you can earn the kind of money that you've always wanted to earn but maybe haven't been able to because you're restricted in whatever job you're in now.
Exactly. Now, folks, before we get started here, we are going to go through 7. I'm sure there's more that we're not going to cover all. So if we run across one or we get closer to the end and you want to ask us some questions, again, feel free to type out any questions that you have, whether it's pertinent to that particular portion of it or not. We may say, hey, we see that question, we're going to get to it, or we'll answer some of those questions towards the end. So, Patrick, let's go ahead and get started here. We see the number one sign of getting bored in what you're doing now, or you're seeing indications your current job or industry is just flat out going away.
Yeah, and let's face it, in today's world, there is no security in any job. Certainly, most jobs get boring after a period of time anyway. Probably even people who get into this business eventually want to sell it and move on to something else. That's okay. But if you're retired right now, for example, and are looking for a way to do something that's useful for yourself, for your community, maybe build a family business that you can turn over to your kids or loved ones, this is an ideal business for that.
Patrick, there's a question here from Joe. He's asking a quick question here about what about the medical billing industry? Is this something that could be going away because doctors are doing their own billing?
Well, that's interesting because my wife and I started doing medical billing back in 1987. And Eric, at the time, of course, all the doctors were doing it, everything on paper. All the forms were mailed in to the insurance companies and so forth. Now, of course, that's all electronic. But at the time, we thought, okay, within 2 or 3 years, we'll be out of business, right? Because the doctors will be doing it themselves electronically. That hasn't happened. Not even half of the doctors are doing their own billing electronically because they've decided that this is better to just outsource this to somebody else. There's a huge number of them that haven't done that, but the great news is that some of our licensees even sign up the ones that have already decided to outsource it. They just picked the wrong company with the wrong technology, and we've got better stuff.
Well, it's amazing that Joe's even asked that question because we see here in a news article, and this is on Healthcare Finance News, the revenue cycle outsourcing to surge in the next 5 years. Patrick, talk real quickly as we go to this topic here. What is revenue cycle? What is a revenue cycle manager? Can you explain that to us?
It's just a fancy term for the cash flow. In a business, a regular business, you think of the cash flow as the money that comes into the business. Well, in a doctor's practice, they refer to it as the revenue cycle because it's not just the billing to the insurance companies or to Medicare, but it's also all of the revenue that comes in from the patients as well. Because there are a number of doctors who write off thousands of dollars every year in the patient receivables. So the revenue cycle has to do with everything that has to do with getting money into a medical practice.
So we see here in this Healthcare Finance News, this is a web portal that you can go to, website you can go to. You can type in Healthcare Finance. Here it is, January the 20th. So Patrick, this was just a few days ago. Susan Morris wrote this article. Providers are increasingly outsourcing to ensure maximum collections amid changing payment models.
I should have written this article, right? I mean, it sounds like we came up with this because, folks, look what it says here. It says the revenue cycle management outsourcing market in the United States will grow by 15% over the next 5 years. Now, what segment of any industry in the United States, food, travel, hotels, is growing 15%? That's a huge growth for any industry. And so for us, this is great news because this is what we teach people to do, is to take over that revenue cycle and manage it for the doctors.
Yeah, and it goes through lacking platforms to handle changes in billing, reimbursements, and collections. Healthcare service providers will continue to outsource to third-party vendors to avoid gaps and inefficiencies leading to the loss of revenue.
Now, let me address that just for a second, Eric. Avoiding the gaps and inefficiencies. Look, we hear these stories every day from our licensees that they've gone into a doctor's practice and found all kinds of gaps in the revenue cycle. Why? Because their staff has not gone to some sort of a training course to know how to do medical billing. They probably learned it from the person that hired them, right? It's on-the-job training. And so they're not experts in this. This is just one of 12 different tasks that that person actually does each day. So they don't know how to focus on it. Whereas our licensees, of course, are doing the billing for not just one doctor's practice, but several. So they get lots of experience on a daily basis and become really, really experts in that. And the inefficiencies in a doctor's office, oh, don't get me started on that.
Well, this all goes back to this first sign that your job may be coming board, or your industry may be going downhill, or kind of starting to look like it's starting to go out of place. Folks, what we're sharing with you right now is that the medical billing field is surging. But not only is the medical billing field surging, it's surging in the right way for you who are third-party vendors, third-party medical billing companies.
Hey, talk about a sign. This should be a sign from heaven for people on this webinar that they are looking at the right business. Healthcare is 1/6 of the whole economy, 1/5 almost, becoming 1/5 of it. Think about that. 20% of the entire economy is in the field that we put people into and train them to go out and help doctors stay in private practice. Because, Eric, the doctors are scared right now with the Affordable Care Act and all the changes in the coding that's coming this year. They are scared that they're going to have to get out of private practice and go find a job just working for a hospital somewhere.
Yeah, and so, folks, I want to kind of point your direction back to those archived webinars. Go watch that webinar we did with Dr. Ratner last week. You'll hear her say it. She was a surgeon for 30 years, so she really truly knows what she's talking about. Now, Patrick, this is one of those articles that you put together for as the editorial, being on the board of the editorial board of Billing and Coding magazine. I'm going to let you roll with this because this is your article.
Yeah, I mentioned that just now, the Affordable Care Act, sometimes known as Obamacare. I mean, even he himself refers to it as Obamacare. And look what it says. First, this is right out of that article. The facts are that 30 million newly insured Americans, 32% will gain coverage from Medicaid, 45% from the individual exchanges, and 23% from their employers. That is a huge number of people being dumped into this healthcare system that weren't insured before. Now, I use that term, that figure 30 million. I've heard all kinds of things, up to 40, 45 million. So whatever it is, it's a huge number of new people that the doctors have not had to see and have not had to deal with. Well, imagine all those new patients coming into a doctor's office. Now their staff has to focus time not only on those new patients, but filing the insurance claims for all those patients. So it's just going to be a burden on them. They need to outsource that, just like they do their office cleaning and their transcription and their legal and their CPA stuff. All that should be outsourced.
Exactly. So let's put this thing to bed, because, Patrick, we get a lot of these questions asked of us. Aren't doctors already doing billing in their own offices? And I think we may have taken that question head on here.
Well, they
yes,
are.
Yeah,
a lot of them are. It doesn't mean that they're doing it right or that they're collecting the maximum revenue that they could, because, again, they're not trained experts in this. We train people to become certified medical revenue managers. Yeah, those are actually 4 letters that our licensees can put after their name, because once they've gone through our training and have our ongoing support and training as a company, they are certified to go out and do this for doctors. And that means they are the experts, and they can do it much more efficiently than the doctor's own staff.
And remember, it's one of the first things that we even said today on the webinar. One of the reasons why doctors themselves are becoming burned out is because they're so worried about their billing, even if they're doing it in-house. It's just unbelievable. So hopefully you see that we have positioned our licensees, positioning you as you're doing your due diligence to be one of the things that you really need to focus in on, and that is it is poised for people to get in this business because of the growth that's happening with us for outsourcing. Let's talk about sign number 2, Patrick. I think the picture says that enough. Maybe you see yourself as having a ceiling on your own income.
Yes, a lot of people don't realize that they will never make more than their company that they work for feel like they're worth. You are not paid one penny more than they feel like what it takes to keep you there, right? So if you have a ceiling on your income, can you ever reach the financial goals that you want for you and your family? No. What you need is to be in your own business where you don't have any ceilings. And we have proof that there is no ceiling at all in this industry.
Yeah, so let's go over to our website. Now, these are just some screenshots, but Patrick, we're going to kind of go through it as if we were going through this ourselves. So let's just say that we've landed on absystems.com, and we've gone over through all this information, and we see this income potential right here. We can click on it right there where it says Medical Billing Income Calculator. Patrick, explain to us what we're about to get into here.
Yeah, so all we did is take some figures behind the scenes and had it programmed so that you can plug in your own numbers. Now, for this example, we plugged in 4 as the number of doctors that you'd like to have as clients. That's a good number. You have 4 weeks in a month, you have 4 quarters in a year, so we just took a number. It could be any number. And just by the way, Eric, as you know, we have licensees who have over 200 doctors. So these are just numbers, and they can be any numbers that you wanted to plug in. Same way with the number of patients that each doctor sees each day. We've got doctors who see 40 and 50 patients a day. So we've just plugged 20 in for this example to make it conservative. And then, of course, average 5 days a week. You can even change that if you think the doctor takes off a day a week. And we've even used the number 6% here. Now, folks, the percentage that you actually will charge, we will help you determine that. That's part of our support for you to make sure that you're pricing your services correctly. But in the United States, it's going to run anywhere from 5 to 8 to 9% that most medical billing companies charge the doctor. And the average amount of the claims is going to run from $100 to $250, $300, depending on the specialty. For a general practitioner, it's much higher, probably than $100. We probably ought to change that sometime, Eric, in this example, to maybe $150. But anyway, let's say it's $100 per visit. Now we hit the submit button, and the calculator behind the scenes says, okay, for the numbers you just plugged in, here's what you get. Look, this total gross income for the year for this 4 offices, just 4 offices, is $124,800 a year. Now, folks, that's what we're talking about when we say there is no ceiling on your income in this business. Because again, our trainer who comes down has about 15 clients, for example. We have people all the time that we interview on these webinars that will tell you they've got dozens of clients. So again, these numbers are very realistic. They are gross figures. They don't take into account, of course, some overhead costs you might have if you have an office. Most people run it out of their home, so they don't really have a lot of cost. But you'll have some phone bills and internet bills and things like that.
Yeah, so I think when we talk about, Patrick, that people can literally make what you like to phrase it as an executive income, 6-figure income. That's what most people think about.
Right.
Anywhere from 3 to 4 doctors could certainly get someone there. Now, certainly we were kind of very low on the numbers, as you said. I mean, some doctors, the reimbursements can be much higher than $100.
Sure.
But that's about average for a family practitioner. But we know that podiatrists and certain doctors in those categories, their average reimbursements are about $200 to $250. So you could almost, if you took these numbers, if you had 4 podiatrists, you could actually double what you're looking at right there. So you can certainly see how incredible that your ceiling can be adjusted for what you'd like to do.
Look, I've always said, Eric, give me a business that has no ceiling. In other words, show me that people are making the kind of money that I've always dreamed of making, maybe a 7-figure revenue. And that's all I ask. I know everybody doesn't reach that goal. That's not their goal or level of success. But if I at least know that I have the possibility of earning any amount of money that I want for me and my family, I know that's a real opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's go on to sign number 3. I found this picture here. I thought, okay, this is what it kind of feels like. Having been a business owner, you may seem overwhelmed with the thought of going out on your own. Swimming with the sharks. I mean, we hear a lot about Shark Tank on the TV, and so jumping out there, Patrick, in the midst of business people, that's a scary place to go.
Yeah, it is, and I have to recognize that when I see the people who come to our training classes, for example, this was just last week. I look at their faces on Monday morning, and they are petrified, right? Because some of them, never having been in business, don't know what to expect for the week. This is one reason why we give our 100% full money back guarantee, Eric, is at the end of the week, if for some reason people don't think this is the right business for them, they can get all their money back. And the
Right.
reason for that is because I don't want people who are brand new to this to be overwhelmed during the week and go, wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And now I'm stuck, right? You're not stuck. I'm, as far as I know, we're the only company in America that allows people to come to their entire training class and see everything, all the proprietary secrets that we share, and still get all their money back if they want to. We don't have that happen, of course. That's one of the reasons why we can offer that guarantee. But it makes people feel better about this because this is a scary thing to step out on your own if you've been
Well,
working with somebody else.
let's just do this. I know we don't have any polls here, but if you'd like to raise your hand, we won't even call out your name. But if this is you, just let us know. Just raise your hand there. Yeah, we've got a few hands going up there. So, folks, we understand that this could be you, and so let's take care of that real quickly. Let's talk first of all about our licensee support site, Patrick. This is I just took these screenshots today, so these are some very recent articles and some things that we're going to kind of step through here on our licensee support site. So tell them about what this whole site is about.
This is a private website that you'll be given access to once you've gone through our training. So when you come back from training, you're now able to go and browse through all of the materials that are loaded up on the site. And when I say loaded, I mean there's a lot of stuff here. In videos alone, there's probably more hours than there are in 2 or 3 weeks of live training. You've got all the training on medical billing basics. You've got all the motivation videos and documents that we have out there. Everything about the new codes. Here's some of the videos that you can see right there that we place right on that site. You can hit that play button and start playing it right from your computer, from your iPad, from your phone, your smartphone. You can watch these anywhere, anytime, as long as you're connected to the internet. And there's just a ton of information there. So, folks, we're guiding you, we're stepping you through, we're holding your hand. Not only do you get the 35 or 40 hours of training here live at our workshop in Dallas, but you also get to go back to this site and go through hours and hours of training. It's the most complete training in marketing, in using medical billing systems that you'll ever see.
And then on top of that, you just mentioned the live training workshop. Let's kind of go into that a little bit more. Tell us what
Well,
to expect during the workshop.
here's where it all starts. We bring you into a classroom situation, folks, because we want you to hear, first of all, from somebody who's actually out there that's been through the exact thing you're going through right now. You see the lady in the bottom left-hand corner there? That's Cynthia Anderson. She's one of our licensees, been with us for about 6 years now. She came through this very training herself 6 years ago, and she had to make that decision to invest her money into this business and to go through this training. And so, folks, the reason this is important is because we're going to have a chance to bond with you as a company. All of my staff members are there, and we bond with you during the week. We're there to answer all your questions and make sure that you get what you paid for when you signed up for this. And that way, you are getting real live training, hearing questions asked by other people that you might not have thought of, and interacting and doing exercises with other people that cements in your mind that this is a profitable business to be in.
Yeah, and I tell you, it's just incredible what you learn here. And again, Ruth asked the question. Ruth asked Patrick, will we have at the training some hands-on time with the software in of itself?
Yes, you don't see it here in any of these pictures, but we do have laptops. There's a picture right there, hands-on training. We bring it in. We set these laptops in front of you. 2 people at a time can work together as a team to actually put in the data for a patient or 2. You also get to submit the claims information as if you got the information from a doctor that you'll be submitting to the insurance company. I mean, you're using this live, connected to the internet, just like you will be when you are actually doing the billing for a real doctor.
Exactly. So we take you day one, hands-on. And then the rest of the week is focusing on all the different services that we have to help you position yourself to be that revenue cycle management, certified revenue cycle manager. and then put you in that position to know what you need to go out. Now, again, I kind of revert back to last week's webinar and go back and listen to Dr. Rackner, because, Patrick, she spent some time with our trainees last week.
Yes, the reason we brought her in again is because Dr. Rackner is a doctor who is retired now, an orthopedic surgeon, as Eric mentioned. She's now retired, but she has decided to help us help people who get into our business know how to engage with doctors. And she's developed an entire course for us. She's written an ebook that we'll be putting out for each one of our licensees to use as a marketing tool. Think of the credibility of having a doctor, an MD, who's written a book with your name on the front cover along with that doctor. It's a fantastic tool, and that's just one of many, many tools that she's developing for our licensees.
That's great. And then we'll get to that question here in just a moment. That's a great question that just came in. Let's talk about sign number 4, Patrick. People say that they have their money set aside and or they have available credit to start a business, but afraid that you might not get off the ground or sign up a client.
By the way, a lot of people, of course, have set aside some money to start a business, and our investment is $25,000. Folks, compared to most franchises and opportunities that are out there, that's just piddling amount of money. But the way we've built our company is that not only do we make money on the licensing fee, but once you've gone through training and you start signing up clients, we make a few pennies on the back end through our technology partners. They give us rebates on those transactions that are going through our system. So we have a dedicated reason to help you be successful. And this is the scariest part of starting any business, Eric. Let me make no bones about it. To sign up a client is the scariest part. Most people that are on the webinar today would probably say, look, if I had the $25,000, I would give it to you today, and I would get involved in your business if I just knew I could be guaranteed a client. Well, folks, if we had clients, doctors ready to sign up, we wouldn't need you, right? We would just sign them up. But we're not in the medical billing business ourselves. Remember, all we do is train and support other people who get into the business. So I know that's a scary thing, but we've got ways of showing people how to go out and find those clients.
Well, here is, I think this book that you were just talking about here, How Physicians Can Get More Patients.
Yes, good. I'm glad you put that cover on there, Eric. That is the ebook that you'll be able to print out and hand or mail to a doctor. And look, it's got my name on the front of it here, but it will have your name in place of my name as the forward. We've actually got a little forward written, and we'll put your picture and your contact information inside the book. So it's a great marketing tool for you, and it builds such credibility that you are the trusted advisor that can help that practice, not only with their revenue, but to how to get more patients and build their practice.
Exactly. So just imagine that you've got your book, a book for you to market, customized for you. You actually can write your own forward, or you could use the forward that we already have in there for you. It's customizable for whatever you'd like to be able to do. And then plus everything that you see over to the right, Patrick, this is all the different services and all the marketing, some of the marketing material that they're able to get. Again, this is to help them get that first client.
Yes, folks, again, the biggest fear of anybody starting a business is, what if I cannot get the business off and running and profitable? Well, folks, as you saw from the example that we just gave you, with 4 doctors, you're making a fairly good income there, right? So it doesn't take a whole lot. Each one of those doctors is worth $25,000, $30,000 a piece. Now, I don't know what you're earning right now in your current job, but just do the math, play with that calculator, and find out. It will not take that many, literally a handful. Eric, I use that because you know that most licensees, once they get 5 doctors, they're making more money than they've ever made in their lives. They're probably working less hours than they worked before, and it's just turned out to be a terrific thing. But until you get that first client, you're not sure. So we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on these marketing materials to make sure people don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's why you pay the license fee from us guys. We spent the money, we spent the time, we found the professionals and tested the market materials to make sure that they actually work.
Now, Patrick, there's a few more questions that have come in here. I'm going to skip that one, the first one there, because we'll talk about that one when we get to some training issues.
Yeah.
But Tony's asking the question: do we have to pay anything after the initial $25,000 investment?
No, in fact, folks, you could actually speak with some of our licensees, get back with the representative who sent you the email about this webinar, for example, and ask them for some of the references. These are licensees that have been through the training. Some of them have been with us 5, 6, 7 years. Some of them have been with us 6 months. And ask them these questions. And you'll see that nobody has ever paid ABS another dime since they paid the initial licensing fee. It's a one-time, all-inclusive lifetime licensing fee. So you never pay another penny to us for anything ever. Well, one other thing, except for marketing materials. If you run out of these flyers, and you get 2,000 of them, by the way, most people don't have to reorder. But if you did reorder them, you just buy them from us at our printing cost.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, it doesn't mean that there won't be any overhead to your business. We're just saying that there won't be any fees back to American business systems.
Right.
This is a business opportunity. It's not a franchise, so there's no franchise fees. There's no royalty fees. So again, if you need that explained a little bit better, again, talk with your ABS rep there as well. But again, not only with those marketing materials, Patrick, let's kind of just really briefly talk about what we're seeing here on the screen. These are what you would call the drip marketing or the follow-up program postcards that actually go out to, again, get those doctors as clients.
Yes, they're postcards and greeting cards. Think of it as a greeting card that opens up from the bottom up. And so you got 2 panels on the inside that can be personalized with exactly what you want on the inside, including a picture of yourself or the practice. You can use this to market your own business and to offer it for doctors to do the follow-up of their patients to get the patients back in for repeat visits. So it's a wonderful automated online system. Even though these are printed full color cards that are sent out in the U.S. postage with postage on them, you don't do a thing. Behind the scenes, this is all done through technology. You just do it online, push a button, boom, they're mailed out for you.
Exactly. And then lastly, I mean, certainly we've got so many marketing things here, but I just kind of peeled out some of the most important ones.
Oh, yeah. Our trade show displays.
Trade show booth. I mean, if you're afraid of trying to go find doctors, let doctors come to you through a trade show. So let's talk real quickly about these trade show booths.
I just talked to a licensee this week, Eric, who said that they were about to do a trade show. And he said, look, I don't necessarily like to go out and do any kind of marketing. I'm just going to go to this trade show, set up my booth, and let the doctors come to me and engage with them, because there's going to be something like 50,000 doctors that'll be coming through that trade show for this guy. But yeah, we've had these developed. By the way, these cost a lot of money, $4,000 or $5,000 per display. The one on the left is a full-size one that sits on the floor, as you can see, about 10 feet wide, 10 feet high. This one on the right is a tabletop unit, so a little smaller, but it still fits in one of those booths that you see at the trade shows.
Yep, absolutely. So, folks, if you're concerned about, you've got the money, you want to invest, but you're not sure about how you're going to get that first client, folks, we've got a system in which we will help you get that first client. And something we haven't even mentioned is part of the support mechanisms that you get with us is our ongoing lifetime of support for us to do your demos for you, for your doctors. Here's where we partner with you. And again, as Tony asked a while ago, do I have to pay anything after the $25,000? That's all included. So as many demos you'd want us to do, we'll be certainly happy to be able to do that for you. All right, sign number 5. You see a lot of business opportunities that interest you, but you're not sure if you can learn medical billing or are afraid it will be too technical.
Yeah, I mean, I hear this. I know you do, Eric, from people who are looking into our business that they're afraid that this is something real technical and they're scared of the technology. That's why we have the laptops in our classroom right there as people walk in, and we have them doing medical billing by the end of the first day. Because it's not that technical. We tell people this is not brain surgery, no pun intended. You may be doing the billing for a brain surgeon somewhere down the line, but this is not rocket science. This is just plain old data entry, common horse sense. You're following the data that the doctor has given to you, and they give it to you electronically, and you put that into our system, and it's all automated, folks. There's nothing that you have to learn about this that you can't learn if you've been through the 6th grade.
So talk to us about these people that you've put up here on the screen, Patrick.
Oh, well, these are just photos that we've had sent to us by some of our licensees because every one of the people that you see on this screen here had no background in the medical field whatsoever, nor had they run their own business. So this is proof positive that it can be done. Every one of these people here are running full-time medical revenue cycle management companies, and they're making great incomes for them and their family. Most of them working from their home. I can see 1, 2, 3 on this screen, 4 that have actually opened up their own offices. And yes, some of those will let you come visit them. They're on our reference list, and you just can fly out and visit them if you make arrangements to do so. But the point is that it's not something that can't be learned by from any background. Guys, we've got people from every age bracket, every income background, every educational background, every religious background, every race and ethnic origin. It doesn't matter. We can teach you to do this business.
Exactly. So, and that's why we want you to feel free to, when you come that first day, that we put your hands right onto it. Now, with that, August asked the question, can we bring additional laptops to training if 2 of us are coming as a team so we can both control the input of at the same time?
Well, we do encourage people to bring whatever electronic devices they want to, as long as they're not doing anything personal on them during the class. If they want to hook up directly to our system, yes, we can have either one of them log in. We'll provide one laptop and you can use the other one. Yes.
Yeah.
Bring your iPad if you want to. That would be a little harder to type on than a laptop. But you can run our system from an iPad as well.
But what we like to do there, though, August, is really show you that one's physically on the keyboards while the other one's kind of coaching the other one. So it is a student coaching mechanism that we do. So if you got 2 of you trying to do it at the same time, it kind of defeats a little bit of our purpose of what we're trying to do there. However, you can. So we don't want to let you know that you can't bring your own laptops or anything else like that. But during that time of hands-on, it's a student coaching mentality that we kind of work with you, because as a coach, as you teach, you learn even more as well. So certainly, hopefully that helped answer your question there. Now let's get to sign number 6. Now this is one that I think a lot of people are concerned about, Patrick. We are on the internet. Most people talk to us just by telephone. They're here visiting with us on our webinar. But you have a gut feeling it is time to start your own business, but you're not sure who to trust or how to tell if it's a real business based on a real need in the marketplace or a scam.
Yeah, we hit this right straight on, folks, because we know that this is a big decision. Investing $25,000 with a company that you've never met or maybe never heard of in an industry maybe that's brand new to you should be a scary thing. It should be a scary thing. I would encourage everybody to do some real research to make sure that any business that you send money to over the internet is a real business. This is why we encourage you to come down and visit with us. Go to the Better Business Bureau and see their rating. A+, you can't get a better rating. How do we maintain that? Here we've been in business for 20 years, folks. It's because we have done what it takes to make sure that people are happy. If we were a scam, we would be scamming people. We still wouldn't be in business, for one thing, and we certainly wouldn't keep an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau.
Well, Patrick, we've been asked this question a lot, and James asking the question. So, what does it mean that business is not a BBB accredited? What does that mean?
Yes, Eric, kind of point to that so people can see what we're talking about there. You see it says right there, this business is not BBB accredited. Now, folks, on the BBB website, you'll read what accreditation means. Here's what it means. It means that you've signed up with the Better Business Bureau to become a paying member. That's all it means. If you have an A+ rating, it doesn't matter whether you've joined them and are paying to be a member or not. In fact, it should speak volumes to you that we didn't have to pay anything to get an A+ rating.
Exactly. Yeah, so folks, do your due diligence. Do your due diligence with trusted places on the internet like the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah.
And then, Patrick, part of that is in doing the due diligence, talk about your 100% money-back guarantee.
Yes, I mentioned this earlier, and folks, I really don't know how to get any more real with people because we can't tell you everything that there is to know, and we can't tell you how you should research a business. But I know this, that if a business is offering a guarantee of letting me come and see everything that they have to prove to myself in real life whether or not this is a real opportunity for me, whether I really am going to like this business even, and then they're willing to give me my money back at the end of the week, that's unheard of. Again, I don't know of any company that does that in America. Now, some people will let you come to their seminar or their training, and after the first day, if you don't like it, you can get your money back. Well, look, we want you to see everything. And so your licensing fee is actually put into an attorney's trust fund. We have no access to those funds until after the training week. And at that point, they are released to us as a company. So at the end of the Friday, you say, you know what? I love you guys, but I hate this business. I want my money back. That's what we do. Now, that has happened, hasn't it, Eric?
Right.
Yeah. But in the 20 years we've been in business, we can count that on one hand, less than one hand.
Yeah. And so, folks, again, this is an offer, a very generous offer made by Patrick, and it's truly because we want you to see it. This is that part about wanting to know if we're a scam or not. I think Patrick is kind of a funny thing. We all kind of chuckle, and the licensees when they do get here on that first day of training, I think a lot of times you ask how many stepped off the plane and you got to the hotel only praying somebody was going to be there. And so that's what we do. We want to make sure that you know that we're real, we're here. We've got licensees, again, that teach you and train you. We're here to help you, full of support. That's what we're here to do.
You can call and ask your ABS rep about even the hotel where we hold the training. And you can call that hotel and ask for the manager and say, who is this American Business Systems? And, do you see them on a regular basis there doing training? Yes, they have for the last, what, Eric, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. And, talking about training, that kind of leads us to the last sign here, and that is, it's time to step out on your own, but you worry about having the right company and the right people behind you to support you. I think this picture says a lot about what we do here, Patrick. We're always 1 or 2 steps ahead of all of our licensees here, making sure you have a proper place to place your foot.
Yeah, folks, to be really straightforward with you, there are just a handful of companies out there that do anything even close to what we do. Only 1 or 2 that have a training package and software and all the pieces that you need to start this business. And some of them, the training is always done over the phone in modules with a script that somebody reads over the phone to make sure you're trained right. This is not the way you train in this business. You need that hands-on experience that you can only get by coming to a live training workshop. Now, I know that it's harder for people to buy our package. To have to come to a live training, they have to set aside time, take some vacation time or sick days or whatever, and they have to basically fly down here and stay at a hotel. That's going to cost them a total of maybe $1,200, $1,500. But folks, that's the difference between success and failure. Having a company that's going to be there for you and that's going to support you. Hey, we haven't even talked about our lifetime support, Eric, but folks, once you become an ABS licensee, you have support forever, not for a year like we used to, not for 2 years, not for 3 years, forever. And you never, ever pay one more dime for that support. Be sure and check with any other company and see what their support is after the first year or 2.
Right. We're here because we believe in this business. This is all we do. We don't sell any other type of business opportunity.
No.
Daily, we're in business. We're working with our licensees. We're supporting them. And although that we have support here at corporate, we have our technical support that if you ever need help here. But I think one of the greatest things here, Patrick, is I put this other one up here, we have a complete ABS community of support that is all over the country. All those people that you saw earlier are part of support. So, Patrick, why don't you talk about how our licensees actually become part of this ABS community of support?
Yeah, starting with the group that you'll be sitting in training with. Those people, the other 19 people, if we have a full class, 20 is all that holds in a classroom, those other people are going to become your closest buddies. They're going to become your emotional support. For example, you can contact those people and stay in touch with those people. And then, of course, with all of our licensees nationwide, you become a part of our nationwide network. And the great thing is, folks, that you don't have to go out there on your own and pretend that you're just starting a brand new business. You have no clients, you have no experience. You can position yourself as being a local office or affiliate of a nationwide network that has thousands of officers from coast to coast. We process thousands of claims every day from hundreds of doctors, and we collect millions of dollars in revenue for those doctors. Now, doesn't that sound like you're positioned with somebody much larger than just somebody working out of their spare bedroom?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, folks, again, with our support mechanisms that we have currently, first of all, the licensee support site. One thing we didn't even talk about that on there, Patrick, is that there's a live chat on our licensee support site. If you ever need support there, you can get it. We have an 800 number that you can call, talk to us here at American Business Systems. Then, again, we have, when you're ready to present a proposal, that proposal comes back to us here at support. We kind of work it. We make sure that it's exactly what you need, and we get that back out to you. But I believe, again, one of the greatest things that we have is our group of licensees that are willing to help you if you ever run into anything. And I know that, Patrick, I think just a couple of weeks ago, we had Renee Hermes on. You and I and some of the other team did a quick webinar go-to meeting with him. And we already know that he's already helping other licensees even market their own business.
Yes, we call it our coaching program, folks. At any point when you want some extra help from someone, I'm talking about a licensee now, not just our staff, but even a licensee that's running their own business. We can put you in contact with dozens of licensees who have volunteered to be those coaches that can take you by the hand and make sure that you get what you need in whatever area that you're having questions about. So I don't know of any company that provides that kind of support. Now, again, it's because the more money you make, the more money we make as a company, and that's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly. Now, folks, again, we've kind of gone through all the 7 signs that we know of, and certainly there's probably other questions that you might have and some other signs that you might run across here. However, there are some more questions that have come in, and I see a couple of them here that I really want to get into here about this whole business. And Patrick, I'm gonna shoot this question over here. It's from Jeff. It's a great question, and I think certainly well deserved to kind of as we wrap up the webinar today. He says this. First of all, he went and spoke to his doctor, and so Jeff, we would certainly would like to work with you before you become a licensee. There might be some things that we could have shared with you, but Jeff asked the question. I spoke with my doctor as a physical and asked him about medical coding outsourcing. He stated he did it in-house with his practice, and now he works for a clinic that has 4 offices, and they do their coding in-house. He stated they have no problems getting paid timely without rejects. He stated the fee was 2% in his day, and that was way too much. I mentioned I'm looking at 6%. What is the real story here, Patrick? I love what you're saying, and it seems credible, but I'd like you to mention, but like you mentioned, I'm even more skeptical about the $25,000.
Well, of course, I don't know his doctor, and I don't know what he's referring to about a 2%, unless he was outsourcing it to India or something like that, overseas, maybe. Or maybe he's an older doctor, and back in his time, 2% was a lot of money. I don't really know. All I know is that our licensees, we're signing up doctors on a regular basis, and they're paying 5, 6, 7%. Now, why? Because it has nothing to do with whether or not that's a lot of money. Yes, it could. 2% is a lot of money for some doctors, but if we're bringing in 30% more than the doctor's collecting now, what's 5 or 6% of that? It's nothing compared to what we're actually doing for the doctor. So, like you used to say, Eric, I would buy, $5 bills all day from you if I could turn around and sell them for, $20. It's just value. That's all it boils down to. We just know how to build the value, and our licensees get that. And by the way, that's not the average rate out there for billing companies. If you do your research, you'll find medical billing companies charge 5 to 8%. That's just the going percentage.
Yeah, Jeff. Here's the thing. If you're still on here, if you kind of understand this, one of the things that we show you to do is to do a practice analysis. It's hard to talk about pricing to a doctor when we don't know, and you may not know all the things that go beyond the services and the cost of it actually getting out there. On a national basis, it's truly anywhere from $20 to $25 to get a claim out, even if the doctor's doing it in his own office. Sometimes even if they're outsourcing it can be that high, because we're not considering the cost of the clearinghouses, we're not considering the cost of the actual programs that they may be using, how many people are actually touching the claim in that. But then once we have the numbers, really, truly, and then we're able to present back to the doctor through our practice analysis report, you'll be able to show the doctor of an increase of revenue that they can make, even if you're charging 6 to 8%. So if you start to talk directly about cost, that's a killer in the beginning.
Because if you ask the average doctor what he pays his, what does it cost him to have his own staff handle his own billing, he might say off the top of his head, oh, it probably costs me, I don't know, $2 or $3, $4, $5 a claim, and it's about $20 a claim. That's the average that it takes in-house for a doctor, because you've got hidden overhead costs with the staff. All the benefits that you pay, vacation, sick pay, insurance, that type of thing, all of that has to be factored in. The only way you could know for sure whether that doctor really is getting a bargain from his own staff in-house is to do that practice analysis that we've come up with that gets that information and puts it into what we call a practice revenue report. Now, that's basically a spreadsheet that you plug the numbers into, and we've done the calculations to show the doctor in black and white, here's what it's costing you to do it in-house for real. Here's what we're going to charge you at 6, 7, 8%, and look at the difference. And it's always a lot more money they'll get by outsourcing it. They just don't realize that. Now, look, let's face it, some doctors are just control freaks. They're never going to outsource their billing no matter what. If you just said it was free, they wouldn't do it. So it could be that that's the case with your doctor. This is why, Jeff, we don't encourage people who are doing their research to go and speak with a particular doctor. That doctor might have been your very best prospect for this. But because you did not know what you were doing when you approached that doctor, didn't know the right questions to ask, you may have blown your best lead.
Well, again, and I want to encourage you to go back and watch the webinar from Dr. Rackner. She actually says, don't market to your personal doctor. And she explains why, just because of the relationship that you have there. And so that's why, Jeff, that might be a little bit disheartening for you to kind of go, wow, what is this $25,000 all about? Hopefully Patrick and I have just shared with you the value that you're actually getting from us, because that is one of the ways we would tell you not to market. And so it's not that we are disagreeing with you about trying to go out there and do a little bit of pre-marketing. However, there's some things I think we could have helped position you on. So just go back and watch some of the webinars. I think that'll actually help out as well.
One of the things is you probably don't have the credibility with your own doctor because they know you. I mean, let's face it, he's seen you naked, Jeff. That's not a good thing.
Okay. All right. Tony's asking a question here. Great question. Are 5 days enough to get trained on all of this?
No. No, 5 days is not near enough. I have begged my staff to let me extend this to 30 days, but nobody would come down for the training, not even for 2 weeks. It's hard enough for most people to get a week to come down here. So no, the answer is we can't teach you everything about this industry in 5 days, which is, like I said, 35, 40 hours of classroom time. But your training doesn't stop there. Remember, we do webinars. We're going to do one this Friday for our licensees and next Friday. It's an ongoing training for you. That's why the license fee is worth more than $25,000, folks, because it's ongoing forever. I mean, we've got people coming to our webinars that signed up with us 20 years ago. What value is that to them? Back then, the license fee was a whole lot less than 25,000 too. So it's
Well,
a bargain.
in a sense, though, Patrick, the 5 days are enough to get you trained to get your first doctor, because all those people that you saw on the screen earlier, that's all they've gone through. And now, not only do they have a handful, there's some on there again that have 20, 50, 100, 200 doctors that they're doing billing for. So, in a sense, Tony, yes, the 5 days are enough, but it doesn't stop there. If it stopped there, then we wouldn't have the support mechanisms, the lifetime of support, the demos that we do for you. That's why you rely upon us. So again, if you can imagine, you're going to learn enough to know to go out there and get your first doctor, get them to the practice analysis. That practice analysis leads them to a live demo of the system, which is with us. Even though you may not know everything, we do. We sit with these doctors every week. We go through all of their questions. And so that it truly is in and of itself. There is enough that you do learn there. But, as Patrick said, this is a lifetime learning thing that you're going to learn.
Look, you pay $1 million or more for a McDonald's franchise to go to their hamburger university. That's only for 2 weeks. Do you learn everything there is to learn about running a McDonald's? Probably not. But it's enough to get you started. And that's what we tell people. We know this works because we have not just a dozen or so people that you saw on that previous slide. We've got dozens of people, hundreds of licensees across the country that have proven that this is a viable business and that our training works.
All right, folks, we've got to get it to a stop here on the questions. Thank you for your questions. We will answer your questions. I see a lot of questions still have come in. Nomi, Tony, I see you've asked some more questions here. We'll certainly be able to get those to you a little bit later. But as we wrap up here, let's kind of